Hi everybody, this review is on the new Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up. So the plot of this movie is Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, they live together and they discover that there's a giant hole in the roof of their house and it's also surrounded by some kind of extraterrestrial slime type substance which starts leaking through their house, and they decide to try to get their hole in the roof repaired. So they try to try and earn enough money to get it fixed. And so they decide to get a job at a bubblegum factory. And then Daffy discovers this one guy who acts like a zombie, and he's very weird. He acts very weird and not earthly. And then Daffy discovers that there's some residue which looks eerily similar to the one on their roof, and they discover that the bubblegum factory and the whole hole in their roof was caused by some kind of extraterrestrial invasion, and the bubblegum factory is part of this giant conspiracy theory which Daffy thinks that aliens might try to invade and use the bubblegum, and they do want to. The aliens want to use the bubblegum to invade the earth and try and use it for its advantage to take over Earth. And so Daffy, Porky, and Porky's girlfriend Petunia try to work together and try to stop this invasion and try to figure out what to do and save the world. Warner Brothers, you're probably the stupidest movie studio when it comes to decision making. And I'm not talking just DC stuff. I mean, that's a whole nother story. That I can name a lot of problems of Warner Brothers handling DC movies enough to even cover like 10 videos, but that's not the point. Warner Brothers has lately been not fairly treating their animated properties well. And this was one of them. This movie actually was supposed to be a I think it was it supposed to be on Cartoon Network or HBO Max in the States, that is. Yeah, I don't know, but they sold it off for tax purposes. But thankfully, some indie studio purchased it, and I think that might have been kind of for the best because it got a big screen release, and I was able to see it. And so, after all the waiting, all the debacle of the first fully animated Looney Tunes movie that isn't a marathon of shorts, how was the movie? You know what? I kind of in retrospect, I kind of just really got to appreciate in retrospect that some other studio was willing to put this on the big screen, because I had an absolute ball with this movie. Like, that would be an understatement. This is probably the most fun I've had with an animated movie in quite some time. I don't think I've laughed this much at an animated movie since the Angry Birds movie. Seriously, it was that funny. I really could not stop laughing. It was definitely felt like seeing a Looney Tunes cartoon. It was, but bigger and longer, and it doesn't feel like a short stretched out. It actually does feel like a full-length movie. And a part of that is it's not just most Looney Tunes cartoons, I feel, you could argue like they kind of have a formula. They're roughly 7 minutes long. It focuses on certain types of characters. They're put in one specific location and scenario, and the rest is just kind of a bunch of jokes and hitting each other with mallets. Although I know that wasn't all of it. Some of it was kind of dialogue related humor, but this movie is like an extended Looney Tunes short, but not even that. Actually, it doesn't even feel like a long Looney Tunes short. I mean, a lot of the gags do, but it actually feels like a full movie because it's so unapologetically insane, and I love it for that. And a big chunk of what makes this movie work is it follows a formula of comedies that I really like. It's where things kind of start incredibly slow and mundane, and then it leads to something incredibly random. That's one of the reasons I love regular shows so much. Like, I like stories where something is just mundane and ordinary. Like, the whole thing, they're just trying to fix a hole in their roof and their rent is due. Like, that's something simple. But then it turns into like some kind of weird conspiracy about an alien invasion at a bubblegum factory. Like, those don't connect, but that's exactly why I love it. That's why I loved that Oscar-winning short that came out recently, the I Am Not a Robot, because I love stories where they take like a small boring idea and then it just leads into something absolutely insane because you have nowhere idea where it's gonna go. And I think that's a formula that really fits Looney Tunes. But even as a movie as a whole, it really works because I mean, Daffy Duck and Porky Pig and like all the other characters, like they do have personalities. Because even though Looney Tunes cartoons tend to be short, at least you know them enough. Like you know Daffy's silly and crazy, but he also has anger issues, and Porky Pig's kind of the small talker of the group. Like so they do have enough fleshed out personalities to go through a whole movie, and I think they make a pretty good duo. I mean, I know Daffy and Porky Pig. They were kind of the big duo, like before Bugs Bunny was the big one, because in like a lot of 40s, like 30s and 40s cartoons, it was mostly Daffy and Porky. Ironically, that was kind of the big Looney Tunes duo, not Bugs Bunny's, and it was really refreshing to actually see a Looney Tunes movie without Bugs Bunny in it, because Bugs is a great character. Don't get me wrong, but he's not the only one. Like you can make a it's called Looney Tunes. It's plural, so there's more than one. And I think Porky and Daffy really do make a good duo, and it's really good seeing them be embraced in a theatrical feature because I think Porky's kind of slow, but like kind of you know annoyed demeanor at Daffy's antics, but Daffy still has a silly side to him, even though he can get extremely angry, and that's what I love about Daffy. But although, like I said, like it's kind of more the Bob Clampett style Daffy that was kind of with the Porky Pig duo in the like the 30s and 40s than it is the traditional Daffy Duck. But I liked seeing Daffy like have his chance to shine. I thought because he's my favorite Looney Tunes character, so I think their whole dynamic really works well. And I really hope that sometime, if this movie ends up being, influential enough, it could lead to some more Porky and Daffy projects. And even the whole sci fi aspect, like, it works really well with Looney Tunes because Looney Tunes is a cartoon series where almost anything can happen. So having a alien invasion isn't the weirdest thing. I mean, mind you, I know one of the characters is an alien, Marvin the Martian, but he's not in this movie. But it's a extremely unapologetically silly movie. It was very funny. There was a lot of fast-paced jokes, and even lots of the visual jokes in the animation were really good. Like there's just a lot of wacky, fast-paced uh, visual humor that you get. It basically feels like a cartoon, and I mean that in the best way possible because I had an absolute joy with this movie. I really laughed a lot. So saying it's more like a cartoon than a movie isn't really a bad thing because it made me laugh. I appreciated how unapologetically silly it was, but there were still some good character moments too. So I think it's a really good blend of a bunch of things. I mean, yeah, the twist, you could argue there's a twist in the end near the third act of the movie. And you think that kind of seems like it wasted a whole plot thing, kind of like the aliens in Chicken Little. But I guess to be fair, kids movies kind of have to have twists one way or another. So what can I say? The Day the Earth Blew Up, it's an incredibly fun, very funny, terrifically animated and voice acted movie. It's if you and a pair and of course it had to be one of the better cases is that it's 2D animated. We never get 2D animated movies in theaters anymore, so I was glad to actually go and see a 2D animated, mind you. I don't even think I've seen a 2D animated movie on the big screen, come to think of it, unless you count, I guess, the SpongeBob movies. But it was still great. Like 2D animation is dated. Yeah, right. I saw this in a surprisingly pretty full theater. There was like maybe 10 or so people and a lot of kids were laughing and having a good time. And yeah, I really hope that people support this movie. Maybe we can get more Looney Tunes movies on the big screen or just 2D animated movies in general cuz the medium isn't dead. So yeah, the Day the Earth blew up, what can I say? It did not disappoint. I mean, I wasn't expecting this to be the most amazing thing ever, but I just wanted a lot of laughs and a lot of weird, unapologetically silly uh, scenarios to come from this movie, and that's what I got. And I really had a fun time. If you're a Looney Tunes fan, go see it. Just go see it. I really hope people support this movie. I mean, maybe if there's a good word of mouth, maybe more people might end up seeing it, but I really hope it does at least a bit well. I imagine it probably didn't have the hugest budget, but it's a very good movie. Like, it was very funny. Wouldn't call it one of my favorite animated films ever, but it's definitely one of the funniest I've seen in the past few years. So, yeah, The Day the Earth Blew Up, as a Looney Tunes fan, I'm so glad I got to see this on the big screen. It was just the idea that this movie exists and it was able to get a wide theatrical release. Like, it didn't cheat. It's not just the fact that it was 2D animated or it was a fully animated Looney Tunes movie. It was genuinely funny, had a lot of great moments between the two main characters, and had some really great 2D animation. And what more can you want out of a Looney Tunes movie? It's bravo! Like, the first actual full length Looney Tunes movie to not have live action, not including Daffy Duck's Quackbusters or the Looney Bugs Bunny movie, because those were just short marathons. They weren't necessarily movies, but it's a really great movie. Like, it's really good. If this doesn't end up being my favorite animated movie of the year, then I'm gonna be really shocked. But yeah, if you're a Looney Tunes fan, definitely go see this. I mean, I'm not expecting this movie to be a huge hit, but I hope at least it gets a good amount of people seeing it, because I really hope that we can prove that 2D animation isn't dated. If you're willing to have a good word of mouth and it's a good project, then so be it, because they really didn't market this at all, so hopefully it does well. Okay, the trailers I got before the movie were a Minecraft movie, the second trailer. Yeah, I still don't think this movie looks that bad. I know everyone's gonna throw their pitchforks and torches at me, but I'm not saying it looks great. It doesn't look great. But for what it is, I think it looks kind of fun. I mean, I don't know why people say the effects look horrible. Like, they look fine to me. That's isn't that what Minecraft's supposed to look like? Made of blocks? It looks okay to me, but for all I know, maybe I'm being too optimistic. Maybe this movie might suck, but because maybe all the okay moments are in the trailer. Maybe I'm just being too kind, but I guess we'll see what happens. But a Minecraft movie, I'm willing to give it a shot. I think it actually has the chance to be maybe fun and a little inventive, so I guess we could only hope. I got Elio, which is some new Pixar movie about aliens. Yeah, it's about aliens who like abduct a child or something, and they think he's the leader of Earth. Which, sorry about that abrupt cut. I was needed. Anyway, what were we talking? Oh yeah, the Elio. It looks pretty good. It's neat to see Pixar do an outer space movie, and I don't think they've ever done an outer space movie with aliens, or I guess unless you count Wally, but I don't know. It's that might be a bit of a stretch, but Elio looks quite good. I mean, Pixar normally has a great track record with movies, so let's hope this one's good. Karate Kid Legends. I still have never seen any of the Karate Kid movies. I mean, I remember when the this is a sequel, I think, to the Jaden Smith one, but I think I think the original Karate Kid original. I don't know, but maybe it's a continuation of both movie franchises. I don't know. I remember I wanted to see the Jane Smith one, and but for some reason when I saw it, the ticket guy wouldn't let me in. With even though my dad was with me, and the movie was rated PG, so why? And I ended up seeing Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, which I don't know how that's any better than Karate Kid, but whatever. But I might have to check out the Karate Kid franchise. It seems like something I might enjoy. I know my little brother really likes those movies, and my mom does too. So maybe I'll check them out before I see this one. And The Bad Guys too, which I think it might be pretty good. I mean, I did enjoy the first Bad Guys. I thought it was a good film. I mean, who doesn't like a good heist movie? And I do like how this one is like they're trying to be good still, but they're really bad and at being good. So and they really want to be bad because I like when animated movies. I really don't like when animated movies. I'm tired of every villain centered movie where like, oh, the villain's always like, maybe I don't want to be the bad guy anymore. And the first Bad Guys, it kind of did that, but it feels like at the same time it didn't. If that makes any sense. So I guess we'll see what happens. I don't know if how this is going to turn out for a sequel, but then again, the Bad Guys apparently was a book series, which I didn't even know about until after I saw the movie. So maybe maybe something in the books adds up. Maybe it's based on a specific storyline. I don't know, but since I did like the first movie, I'm willing to check this one out. So yeah, the day the Earth blew up, probably the most fun I've had with an animated movie, and I mean, unless I guess you count Across the Spider Verse, I did have a lot of fun with that. But this movie was great. It was very funny. It had some really great 2D animation, incredible voice acting. There almost was, unless you count Wayne Knight, I guess there was no big name, well known actors in it. So you get actual professional voice actors. So of course you're going to get great voice acting, and of course a lot of laughs. The plot, yeah, it's very basic and goofy and unapologetically silly, but it's Looney Tunes. It's supposed to be loony, but if you're a Looney Tunes fan, you're gonna absolutely love this movie. It's feels like a stretched out Looney Tunes cartoon in the best way possible. There's no live action with human characters. It's fully animated, has a lot of fast paced, unapologetically weird jokes, and a really interesting, funny plot. And it's just a very funny, quirky, balls to the wall movie, and it's a lot of fun. If you're a Looney Tunes fan, this is worth seeing on the big screen. I mean, okay, just because a movie doesn't have, the biggest budget or the biggest special, not everything needs to be Avatar to be a big screen experience. Sometimes a lot of laughs gives you a good experience. Laughing with an audience does help lighten the mood. So it's definitely worth seeing if you're a Looney Tunes fan. Can't recommend it enough. If like I said, I'm if this doesn't end up being my favorite animated movie of the year, I'll be shocked because I don't think anything's gonna top this for me because it was truly a fantastic, very funny, highly enjoyable movie. So that's my review for the day the Earth blew up. So see you later with I don't know what I'm gonna review next, but hopefully something. So take care.